Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heike. This is Lola, my furry ragdoll assistant, and you're watching stonecoldcoffeecrafts. Today, finally, with another floss tube. I think this is 23. Not entirely sure, because I can't remember anything. It's been a month. I wasn't so sure if I was going to do the every 2 week thing that I used to do. I hoped to do that, but then, yeah, life got in the way, and as you might have noticed, I took another unplanned and much unwanted break from YouTube again. But one of these days we shall manage to get back into it, I'm sure. Hey, honey bunch. Oh, are you so tired? You've been sleeping all day. Lies and slender, lies and slender. Okay, I am late. I wanted to be off work like 2 hours ago. But do you know these people who call you at the end of your working day, which happens to be 4:30 for me, and then ask you if you could have a quick chat? And these talks last an hour and then some. Yeah, happened today. So I think I have roughly 1 hour left to do things before the boyfriend returns home, and I thought this would be just enough time to get a Flosstube set up and filmed, so here goes. It's been a month, so I have an update on all my stitch alongs, and I also have a new start that I've been talking about in my last Flosstube, but hadn't shown you yet because the threads hadn't arrived or had just arrived that day. I'm not entirely sure. But let's start out with the new one, which, don't throw stuff on the floor, which is the Owl Forest Alice in Wonderland stitch along. Excuse me, could you move over just a tiny little bit? This is a free stitch along. Owl Forest has at least one stitch along per year now, I think, and they are always free, which is awesome. So you can go to their website and download this pattern, and you can actually also get a DMC conversion. I've been stitching with their hand-dyed floss, but you can also get a DMC conversion and just get started right away and not pay for anything, except of course for your fabric and your DMC, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I love this very much. For whatever reason, I'm very drawn to Alice in Wonderland patterns. I am not a super huge fan of the story as a book or a movie, to be fully honest with you. Of course, I've seen the Disney movie, I've read the books, the book, I don't know if there are more. I've seen the Johnny Depp movies, all of that, but it's never be a huge thing for me. But I just love these stitch-alongs. I did the Satsuma Street last year, and when Owl Forest announced that they were going to do an Alice in Wonderland stitch-along, I was in. So what you see here are the first 3 parts of it. The first part was this rose arch and these 2 lettuce parts here. Then the second part was this upper frame-ish part with the roses, and then this lower one, and the third one was the bunny, the green border, this tree, and then all of this border, which marks the entire width of the piece. And I have to say, I knew that my piece of fabric was narrower than is usually recommended. Like I think usually it's recommended to have 3 inches on each side. I didn't realize how narrow it was. I mean, it's not so bad on this side. I think this is actually pretty close to 2.5 inches or something, but that also means that I have centered my piece poorly, so I have barely 2 inches on that side, even so you can't see it. But it fits. It fits. I'm glad it fits. I am going to frame this myself in whatever way if I ever frame this, so it's fine. We are fine here. Nothing has happened. So the next part for this, I think, drops on Friday. Yeah, it drops on Friday. This is going to be a busy week, y'all. But this is so much fun to stitch. I just love how our forest patterns come together, and this is no exception. And I'm so chuffed that I'm taking part in the actual stitch along this time. I was thinking about the 100 owls, but then I didn't start with it when it started, and then I didn't feel like catching up with it, so I didn't do that. Maybe I will one day. I discovered Owl Forest after they did the Wizard of Oz, so I have this pattern, of course, because again, free, and I plan to get the floss one day, though I'm not sure if I'm going to get the Owl Forest or the Mrs. Sweda's silk pack, if it's still available. I haven't checked in a while. I probably should, but I'm planning to stitch that one too. But you know that Owl Forest is my big love when it comes to cross-stitching patterns, and this is so much fun to stitch. The one downside is that Owl Forest is super symmetric, so if there is a mistake, it is usually pretty obvious that there is one. And let me tell you, this tree up here, it gave me so much pain. I had to fork it twice because I made a couple of mistakes, always on this side here for whatever reason. Oh, can you see that? I bumped my arm into the door handle. This is actually really bumpy and it hurts. I'm super awkward with door handles. I always run into them. I have no idea why. Just noticed that is actually visible on camera. So yeah, I enjoyed this very much. I did a slight modification in the bunny. I don't know if you can actually see that, but I think you can. I used golden rainbow treasure braid for the clock and also his buttons. It was supposed to be, was it this color or this color? One of those two. And in the beginning I thought I would use gold for the clock and then add beads in for his buttons, and maybe I'm going to do that later, I'm not entirely sure. But I kind of wanted to try the gold out first. We will see where this goes. I think I'm going to make, wherever I feel it's appropriate, I'm going to make these small adjustments because they give it a little bit of a pop. I've seen awesome versions of this where people have actually replaced the cross stitch in some parts, like for the hearts here on the arch and for the leaves as well, for embroidery stitches, and it looks so good. I really have to look into embroidery. I think that there are some very awesome things you can do to enhance your cross stitch with them. So I was very fascinated with that. That being said, I am looking forward to this. I am not sure if I can stitch part 4 right away when it comes out. I'm actually pretty sure I can't, because it's going to be on the 4th, and before that we have Dark Queen and Planet B, and the Planet B is usually a 1-day stitch, but the Dark Queen, whoa. So yeah, this was my new start. I originally also intended to start the Satsuma Street Wizard of Oz, purchased the pattern, got the fabric, but then I decided that I couldn't take on yet another stitch along, so this is going to be the last stitch along I am starting this year and plan to keep up with. I think this actually runs into next year until February. Yeah, but more on this in my plans section. So let's try to do this in order, except for the Dark Queen. She will be my big finale, unless she drops on the floor like she's trying to do right now. Don't you dare, honey, don't you dare. She really wants to. So, usually the first thing I do in the month is stitch on the There Is No Planet B. I would put it down further to show it all to you, but there is a cat, which is now staring at me very judgingly. This is the There Is No Planet B by Cloudfactory. This is their 2021 year-long stitch-along, all caught up until part 5, which happened this month, and was this blue whale and this turtle. The turtle gets a bit lost, so I'm once again thinking about giving it a little bit of backstitch. I haven't decided yet because it depends on the light, really. If the light isn't so bright, it actually shows up better. This fabric is a 28 count brown scent, I think it was. might be brown paper. I keep forgetting, I should write this down. By xJuDesign. She is on Etsy, but for my American viewers, you can get her fabric on Kitten Stitcher, I think it is. I think that was the shop that had xJuDesign fabric, and I think they have some exclusive colorways too. Though I believe that she doesn't have a lot of 28, I think she has a lot of 36 and 40 and some 32 mixed in. So not my favorite counts, as you might know what the 36 is actually. But yeah, this is still giving me so much joy. And part 6 is going to be over here, I believe, or it's going to go up here. Not entirely sure. It's another underwater part, and I am really looking forward to that. And then we are going to go slowly up through in the water, on the land, up into the sky by the end of this year. Next year I am going to stitch the Grimm fairy tale, just to spoil my plans section. This is stitched with all the called for. Didn't make any adjustments or replacements yet. Like I said, I'm just thinking about giving it some backstitch to make it pop off the fabric a little bit, because I chose this very neutral fabric and it actually calls for light blue, and I feel like especially the lightest colors don't pop very well. So the duck wing will be last, so the next thing in line is the Cunning cross stitch, free stitch along for Animal Crossing. And this is what it looks like right now. Part 5, finally, my boy Blathers. And I'm going to put this without hitting the cat. His eyes are super wonky. I don't know why it hates me, but the eyes turned not out even on both sides, and it bothers me. But so far I could not convince myself to pull it out. Also, I was so proud. I finally managed to do some decent French knots. I looked up the tutorial before doing them. I told Rachel and Jessie that usually the way I do it, I initially watched a tutorial. Then for weeks and weeks on end, I didn't have to do any French knots. Then a French knot came up, and instead of pulling that tutorial back up, I thought, I got this. And I did the French knot, and it did not turn out right. It lived there now, but it was not right. And then I went back afterwards to watch the tutorial. I was all, yep, got it now. Went my merry way, then encountered weeks later another pattern with French knots. Did not go back to rewatch the tutorial because I had this. Botched up the French knots again. Went back to the video tutorial, watched it again, realized where my mistake was, and decided never to do French knots again. And then this piece came up and he had French knots. And this time I thought, no, we are not going to do this again. And I watched the tutorial first, and I actually did correct proper French knots, only to realize afterwards I had used the wrong color. Yes, story of my life. So the French knots, which you can hopefully see on his, it's not ears, is it? On his head and going up to the things that look like ears. So here they all here and all here. So 14 French knots total. They should have been in this slightly lighter color. I'm an idiot. I'm still debating if I should cut them, but I'm kind of afraid of cutting them because I'm afraid I might hurt the piece there. So I'm not sure. Still thinking about it. But still, this is a lot of fun to stitch. The drops, now that after you have completed the frame, and he gave us, I think, a couple of months time for the frame, these drops are so small. They are stitched so quickly. So that's what makes this so much fun and easy to keep up with. But I will admit that stitching the frame was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But I would absolutely do that again. So kinda looking forward to what June will be. I think the June block is this one actually. So I'm thinking it should be probably Isabel, but I'm not entirely sure. we'll have to wait and see until the 15th of June. Stuart has now his new website. I think Blogspot gave him a lot of trouble when he tried to release the last pattern, and he finally had enough and he opened his own webpage. So I hope I will remember to put the new link down below. But if you go to the blog, it will redirect you to the new website as well. So most recent drop of one of my stitch alongs is the Cozy Cafe by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is where we are. I decided to leave the sticker on so you can actually see what this fabric is. This is a picture of this plus, and it is a 28 count piece in the color opal. So in that case, it doesn't mean that it's sparkly. It just is called opal. It is a slightly pinkish beige brown. It's a bit hard to describe, but it actually shows kind of true on camera. It's a little bit more saturated. It shows up slightly lighter, but it's actually a pretty nice color. So this month was this cup of Earl Grey. No beads this time, but I think it is actually very pretty. I like this dark blue and white teacup. I know this is Earl Grey, so this probably is supposed to be English china, but it reminds me of the type of china they use up in the north of Germany. You know, the northern regions are very famous for their black tea habits, so this would fit right in there. And their china is also this blue and white. It's just more ships and stuff, I think, that's on there. It's been a hot minute since I've been up north, and it was not for work. So this is completely done. There are this time no beads to go in here, so yeah, one drop that is done and I don't have to go back to. Next month we are going to go to the lower half, and I think it's going to be this drink here, so kind of excited to see what's up with this. My new needle minder is from Rachel Ray Crafts. She has an Etsy shop. I'm actually not sure if she still has needle minders from her last release, because she sells out like it's just gone. But you should really go and favorite her shop if you're interested in very unique needle minders made from material she finds on her beach cleaning adventures, because she cleans the beaches of her hometown, which is in Ireland, in the County Kerry. And there's a lot of stuff that is very pretty and can be turned into needle minders, and which will be super unique, so I can't wait for that. Probably buy a lot of stuff once this happens. So look forward to this. It's going to be something quite different from the usual fare. But that being said, this is, I think she said that's her last release of these pin turned needle minder things. I think the cat is trying to kill me with the light. That was very shaky. But this was actually one I absolutely wanted to have and adored, because I just like butterflies, and this one is pretty big and I like it. I have right now 3 needles on there, I think. I don't know why I always have multiple needles on my pieces, because sometimes I don't want to rethread if I know I have to use a color later. I just leave it on the needle and pick another one. Last but not least, Her Majesty. She is, I hope you're ready, because she is fantastic. She is absolutely the best thing in my life. So that's what you've already seen. You already know that. But part 9. Part 9. All of this whole thing here. It was like 5,200 and some stitches. All of this is part 9. And because I have so many stitch alongs I'm doing right now and I absolutely want to keep up with, my goal for this year is that every stitch along I am actively involved in, I want to finish by the time it's supposed to finish. Because it's so many stitches, I went a bit crazy doing this. So this dropped on the 1st. I finished the Planet B first, so I didn't get to this until the 2nd, I believe. And then I stitched this in 4 days and maybe 2.5 hours. I stitched on this like crazy. It's a lot of color blocking, so that was nice. That actually made it a bit faster than it would have been if it was less color blocky, but whew, 5,200 and some change of stitches is a lot. It is really a lot. So I think I watched I watched the whole Lord of the Rings extended edition while doing this. I rewatched a couple of my favorite movies I like to go to if I just want to craft something and I need something to listen to and not actually watch because I've seen it before. And I think I watched Red Sparrow for the first time. That was actually a bit distracting because first time, but a lot of movies. And then for the rest of the many hours I spent on this, I did my usual fare of crafty videos on YouTube and true crime, but this was a lot. I had a bit of stitchy hangover after this. I'll be honest here. It took me a little bit to get into. I think the next thing that dropped was the Alice in Wonderland, and I had to catch up on the first drop too, so it did take a little bit for me to get into this. But isn't she glorious? I mean, she would have been absolutely perfect if you just stitched this, if you didn't go for her lower body, but wowzers. So the next part, when you see this, has already dropped. For me, filming this on the 31st is going to drop tomorrow. As always, I'm going to do the Blended Bee first and then I'm going to do her, but the next part should either be this side or this side, finally putting in her tentacles. And there has to be something Rainbow Treasure Braid, because we bought like 3 colors of Rainbow Treasure Braid and two packages of this blue one, and we so far have only used it up here, so there has to be a ton of treasure braid coming. I'm not sure if Aaron did plan this out with more in the beginning and just decided not to go with it, but there has to be something in store for us for the next 2 drops. I'm still thinking that we are going to have 2 more drops of stitching, and then the last one will be beading and maybe some finishing touches with the glitter floss. Not sure. I mostly stitched this with the called for floss on the specifically dyed for this stitch along fabric, which is called Bewitched by Under the Sea Fabrics. I once again went with 28 count because, as I've mentioned many times before, 28 count hand dyed is actually my smallest count I'm going to use whenever I have to do beading. I feel like on the 32, when we are talking hand dyed, the beads don't really fit like I want them to. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of full coverage. And this is a lot of full coverage, obviously, and I feel like a piece like this, full coverage on 32 count hand dyed with 2/2 is just too bulky for me. I mean, I know that in some of these parts the glitter fabric actually comes through. You can see that pretty well on camera, but you can't see a whole lot of this fabric if you look at it just with your eye. You see a little bit of glitter shining through, but not really any of the blue or the purple of the fabric, so I'm happy with that. This is exactly the coverage I want. It still looks neat. And if the coverage gets too bulky, I have the feeling that it always looks ugly and wonky, and I don't want it that way. So, like I said, so far I mostly stitched like called for, except for up here, Her Magic. This was supposed to be regular floss, and I switched it out for Etoile. I used 310 and 823, I think it was, or it might have been 939. I'm not entirely sure without looking it up. Yeah, I absolutely love this piece. I can't wait to see that finished, and I have plans for next year for something similar, so stay tuned for the haul section. This is literally the most beautiful thing I have stitched up to date, so I'm very much in love with this. So this is all my whips. I of course did not have any finishes because, like I said, I am stitching all stitch-alongs this year. It's driving me a little bit crazy. It was not what I had initially planned, but that's what you get if you take on more and more stitch-alongs. So initially I had not planned to do the Owl Forest or the Cozy Cafe. And right now I am at my max capacity when it comes to keeping up with them. That's why I decided not to do the Satsuma Street one. I'm going to do this next year. So talking about next year, I have plans. Yeah, I know, it's just June, but I have plans for 2022. So I've been stitching stitch-alongs all year so far. I've been able to keep up with all of the ones I ended up liking. I have RIP'd one, which is once again the Year of Blackwork. I'm just not a blackwork person when it comes to stitching. Love looking at it, hate stitching it. So I have RIP'd this, I think like 2 weeks in, maybe 3. But with all my other stitch-alongs I have kept up. But it also gives me a real true craving for doing some pieces that are not stitch-alongs, and that is why my plan for 2022 is going to be the complete opposite of this year. In 2022 I am not doing any stitch-alongs while they are running. I need to say that because I fully intend to stitch the Satsuma Street Wizard of Oz next year. It will be finished then, so I'm going to stitch it all in one piece. Maybe not monogamously, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm also planning to stitch the Cloudfactory Crim's Fairy Tale, which was their year-long stitch-along last year. And like I said, I am also planning to stitch another Autumn Lane, which is going to be the Geisha. They released last year before they started the It's Not a Mermaid sale. I purchased this pattern back then, and I have been on the hunt for fabric, and I have 2 options now. I think I am finally set, and this is one of the plans for next year. I'm going to call 2022 the year of the BAP, because I also plan to finish all my started things like the Yoga Corn sampler, the long dog I have started. I have started a pretty small long dog. It's the Forever After, I think it's called, the wedding one. It is not a huge one. I think it has like 4 pages in total, so it's very minuscule as far as long dog samplers are concerned. But I'm also planning to finish the Mirabilia I have started last year in October, I think it was, and I haven't touched it since then. And I also started Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower in May for Stitch Mania, and that's another one I haven't touched since. So these are supposed to be finished next year, and 3 projects I plan on top of that I have talked about. So let's move into haul, and this is going to be a bit of a repeat if you have seen my friend mail unboxing from last week, because some of this stuff came via the Rachel transportation service from the US to Ireland to Germany, but some stuff is also new. So let's have a look at the stuff that came from Rachel first, because this is patterns and floss. So I think the most boring thing is the cone of 310, but I'm using so much 310 that I thought getting a cone would be useful. I wanted to get the 3371 as well, but it was sold out at the moment. These cones are not sold in Germany, which is a crime. Sometimes I can get them through Amazon, but they are of course much cheaper if bought directly in the US. So yeah, but for whatever reason, DMC is not shipped from the US to Germany. If you try to, I guess Europe, I don't know. If you try to order it on 123 Stitch, they are telling you they are not allowed to ship it. I guess it's because DMC is actually a French company, and they want to supply the European market. DMC is much cheaper in the US in general, so there must be something going on. They probably have a factory in the US somewhere, not sure. But anyway, long story long, I can't get cones here, but I purchased a cone of Blanc via Amazon, but I couldn't get black, so black is now in the house thanks to Rachel. And then I got my floss for my plant chatelaine. I have no idea. I think I might start it next year. I mean, it is a BAP, no discussion about that. But this is for the Zen Garden mandala. It's a pretty big one. It's all the specialty floss because these are pretty hard to get here. I have to order them in the US anyway, so I asked my friend Jessie if she could order all of them for me, and she also has an Etsy shop, so link down below, please check her out. She has fantastic customer service, and you pretty much can ask her anything. She will try to help you out. Just be polite. That's always the first rule. So we have a couple of wildflower threads that go into this piece. I think it's these and these. We have a lot of them. We really have a lot of them. So we have multiple repeats. These three are the same. These two are the same. We have this one here. And then we have two of these darker greens. And this brown color, and wildflowers are cotton. It looks a bit different from DMC. It is much thinner, and I don't think you actually pull those threads apart. You just use it as it is. That's at least how I have so far understood it. I have to go back and check the pattern to be entirely sure. Then we have a few silks. Same company. These three colors, they are amazing. I just love these colors. They are so pretty, so soft. Can't wait to stitch with these. And Gloriana silks. These are the ones that are super hard to get here. And again, we have a couple of repeats in here. As you can see, these two are the same. These two are the same. I believe they look very different, but this and this one is the same. And then we have a couple of them that are not repeats. This brown is actually darker. This silk is not as soft as the water lilies one. So that is interesting, but that might be the way they are skeined up. I'm not sure. Maybe once the threads are pulled, they are actually as soft. It looks a bit different, just saying. And this color here is so pretty. Which one is this? Does it have a name? Wood Pond. This is so pretty. Again, this is supposed to be a French company. I don't know why it is so hard to get it here. Really don't know. So these are all the Glorianas. And last but not least, we have Dinky Dye silks. There are some more special flosses that go in this piece, like I think it's Cunning that is used here. But this stuff I can get here. There are some things that are going to be a bit more difficult to get, but I will walk over this bridge once that's actually interesting. So this is the pearl silk. Again, the structure quite different. I don't know if this is supposed to be pulled apart. I don't think so. 3 colors of that. And then of course, we know and love dinky dyes. They are super, super soft and shiny. 3 more colors, 2 skeins each. This one here is so pretty. This is Christmas Pines. This name is absolutely not fitting, in my opinion. I would never associate this with a Christmas tree at all. Don't know about you, I wouldn't. But it is pretty. Oh, cat, what are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to topple over the computer. So, like I said, this is a bit of a repeat if you've watched this Friends Mail unboxing, but I wanted to include it here because technically it's haul, and I know that not all of you watch every video I make. Oh, come on. So next up is going to be a couple of patterns Jessie got from me from Needlework Expo, which was digital this year, and she attended because, as mentioned, she has an Etsy shop. She actually is word a shop owner. I don't know. I'm searching for a word, but I can't find it. This is by Ink Circles. This is the pattern they did for the Moo the Merrier theme that all the designers kind of agreed on this year, and there were so many cows going on, so many funny cows too. So this was the Ink Circle pattern, and then she had a companion piece with a little kitty, and yeah, you know me and cats. So close up, this is the little cow, and I just like this cow jumping over the moon. I don't know why. And then because it's a cat, we have to have all the cats. I also got this one. So this was my giant Needlework Expo haul. And then this has been quite a few months ago. I think it might have been around Halloween time that I had the idea, and I think I got the idea from Kansas City girl in the Colorado world, Julie, because I think she is the one who stitches a sampler with Mill Hill kits. But I think is it the Halloween kits or is it the Christmas kits? I can't remember. But I think she is stitching a sampler with them. So they are actually kits. They are supposed to go on this perforated paper, and you get all the floss, the beads. I think you also get a beading needle somewhere in here. And I decided I wanted to do a 3-piece sampler using these Halloween kits, and put them in this longish format. So I got the Moonstruck, which is the gorgeous kitty that is all glared out by my lamp. So pretty. I got the Moonlit kitties. I just love kitties. Do you see these little eyes here glowing in the dark? And then I got the Midnight Owl, because owls are fantastic too. And I thought to break up the kitty theme, the owls would be nice. So I'm going to choose a fabric that will fit them all 3, and then I'm going to stitch them. Maybe I might even attempt to do some kind of frame between them, trying my hand at least a little black work. I don't know. But these are going to be my first Mill Hill button and beads kit, and I'm looking forward to them because I actually like adding beads and stuff to my cross stitch. These have a lot of beads, I will be honest, so we will see how much I like this. But so far I actually liked doing beading on my stuff, so yep. Fabric. Not as much as you would expect in a month, but I got a little bit. So first up is the Fortnight Fabrics fabric for May. I am... is it rich and expensive? I don't know. I am part of the club that gets the opalescent fabric, and I get the 28 count opal. of course, because opalescent, but I get the 28 count. This opalescent club is the only one where they offer the 28 count. Don't know why. The fabric for May is called Doll Hairs, and it is this kind of weird greenish mintish color. What exactly is this? What American money looks like? Is that the green of American money? That's very extra. But yeah, I have to find something to put on that. I have no idea. This color is very extra. So that was the club for May. And actually, shouldn't they show the preview for June today? I hope so. And then I placed my first customs order since she started back doing them. You know, for a while, Chromatic Alchemy didn't do custom orders because she was moving house and shop and everything else. So I put in my very first since she did that, and I purchased a piece of ether, which is this blue with a little bit of pink and peach in the background, and this is for the geisha I talked about. The geisha, the model was stitched on a very pink, picture this blush fabric, and I did not like that. I fell in love with the geisha, and I'm going to put the picture up here. I fell in love with her instantly because I am a huge fan of red, and I adore geishas. I adore anything Japan, and Erin's designs, especially with the faces, are just amazing. So I knew I wanted to do that one, but not on the pink fabric. And I have been looking for the perfect fabric ever since I initially or instantly had the idea of a blue with a bit of pink in the background, like sunset or sunrise, but not in the gradient, just with the little spots of pink here and there. And I have a fabric by Crafty Kitty, which also fits the bill. It is a little bit darker, so it's going to be up to a floss toss in the end. This is the lighter version of it, but it's also very pretty, and it is for sure what I was imagining. And then I managed to do something very unique. I've got this Owl Forest kit, and I have to try and get past the cat. I have this Owl Forest kit. I unboxed it ages ago on my channel. It is the Princess Frog kit, and it actually came with a piece of green Lugana. And even though I know now that I would never stitch on this fabric, I don't know what I did with it. It is gone. It's not in here, and I can't find it. It's not in any place I have fabric. I mean, not like I have 15 different places where I store my cross-stitch fabric, but it's just not in the 2 boxes where I have my fabric, and I can't find it. And it's also not in the boxes of fabric I have basically destashed. I have just pulled it out and put it in a different box. I don't know when I will ever do any kind of destash. But I can't find this piece of fabric. So I'm not entirely sure because Owl Forest doesn't say what the fabric is called. It is just said that it's Zweigart, and I couldn't find a green Zweigart like this. So I have no idea what the fabric is actually called. So I ordered a couple of pieces that looked green and maybe fitting on the webpage. I have to say, these fabrics are beautiful. They do not look to me like the photos on the webpage. So they are not exactly what I imagined, but these are absolutely beautiful. This is a spring at the lakeside. And I think you can see all the fabrics here. It's this lighter and darker green mixed with a bit of bluish green, and there's a bit of peach in there too. Not sure if it would fit with the floss in the kit though. And the other one I picked was Bridget's Garden. This is very blue. I'm kind of sure this was supposed to be more green, but it's pretty. I will find something to put on that, no issue at all. Both of them are linen, and they are not glittery. This one was. This is an opalescent. Both of these are just regular linen, 28 count, and both of them are 13 by 18 inches because that's big enough for this piece. And this one here is a 6 by 18 because the geisha is going to be, I think, as big as the mermaid is. Or not a mermaid. She's not a mermaid. So yeah. Then I dove back into my stash of fabric and I found this piece of Halloween Party by Barbara Creations on Etsy. And I think this is actually the closest I have come so far to this fabric. So I will do a floss toss, and then I will probably share these pictures either on Instagram or wherever, to decide which one to do this on, because this is actually one of the kits I want to do next. So she is very high up in line, and it's driving me bonkers that I don't know where I put the fabric to find the exact match. But speaking of owl forest, and that's the last thing we are going to look at today, I got my order I was talking about in my last Flosstube, and in the unboxing I think it was, and we are going to open them. So this has already opened itself. It was very helpful this way. I did not look into this. This is the tail of a Sultan, and here on this side you can see what's in there. The kit always has a piece of fabric that fits the piece. In this case it is a 32 count linen. It has the hand-dyed floss, it has a needle, it has the printed chart in color, it has the chart in fragments, and it also has a fitting needle minder. So let's have a look at this. This linen I'm pretty sure is raw linen, so just your off-the-mill linen color, which is absolutely fine. I like stitching on those, and these are the fabrics, yeah, the flosses. This is a new red. I don't think I've had that before. I might be wrong. It's very orangey. I like it. There's a lot of white, and then of course the light nude and our typical, I think this one is a new one as well. Well, we shall see. For the needle minder, we have this barrel in the water. I've not looked up what this story is about. I just liked what it looked like. And then we have our pattern. As always, this is printed on A3 sized paper, so pretty big. It's double the size of a piece of leather paper if you're American and don't know about A4 and A3, or don't know it well enough to know which is the bigger. So the lower the number behind the A, the bigger the piece of paper is. So and let's see if we can get this separated, because this is stuck very well together. I don't want to rip it. I would be that person. Is the no, not on here. This is the fragmented part, just to show you what the print looks like. It is a very high quality colored print, and these are the fragments, so they are divided in these little, I don't want to show too much of the pattern, but they are divided in these little parts that you can cut apart if you would rather work with those instead of the full pattern. A3 is pretty big, so it's going to take up a lot of space if you work on it. Don't drop it. Don't you drop it. So where are the not sideways. Okay. The colors are on so stupidly this time that I can't show them in the camera. But we, reminder, stuck to the table. But we have the colors white, light nude, like I said. We have the color malachite, which is the green. We have thunder sky, which is the gray blue. And then we have Mars red, which is this orange there. I'm going to assume that the second from the left is copper, and the last one, this one, is golden. So definitely did not have Mars red or golden before. I'm pretty sure about that. As sure as I can be with my bird brain. So that is kit number 1. And I'm going to show you a close-up of the image again. Just like this. It looks so pretty. And look at these 3 girls here. And then of course, because I am a completionist and I already stitched Biome Cat and showed you the whale last time, I also got the 3rd piece in the series, which is the dragon. Which I'm not going to try and say. So the name is here. There. Not going to try and say that. So once again, the kit contains of a piece of 32 count linen. It has the threads, it has the needle, it has the charts in 2 versions printed on A3 paper, and it has a needle minder that goes with the kit. And this one you actually have to cut because it did not conveniently pop open. So... and there it is. This is the same linen that is used for the other 2 pieces. Ooh, there's a big, big slop here. If you can see that. That is a big one. I actually have to try and get that out. Usually I don't mind, but this one is too big. I have to do something about that. But it's this light buttery yellow. I don't know if it's the vintage sun, I think, is a color I've recently seen, or vintage sand, I'm not entirely sure, but it has to be one of the vintage fabrics because it has this little bit of modeling. We have the needle minder, which is this house. This is so cute. Our little booklet that tells us things about how to stitch, and then we have our colors. So this is Salt and Pepper. I think that's, once again, Thunder Sky. I bet you this is Jonquil. I still don't know how to say it. This is pretty sure this is Foxtail. And then I have to check what it is. This is a big pattern because this actually uses 2 pages of A3 paper for the full pattern. Is this the full or the fragmented? That's the fragmented. The color should be on the full. Ooh, there's more fragmented. Yep. So Cat, this box is definitely too small for you. If it sits, it fits. If it fits, it sits. So, let's see. Yep, I was right. This is too small for you. The orange is Foxtail. The brighter yellow is Cloudberry. The strange golden yellow color is this Jonquil business. The blue is Thunder Sky, the green is Olive, the black is Salt and Pepper, and this last color here is Pear. Which I think is exactly the same colors that were in the other patterns, which would make sense because they all belong together in the end. Oh, please, no strange things happening here. So, and that's it. Wow, 54 minutes. I did not expect this to take this long. Didn't think I had so much to show and talk about, but I guess I always do. Alright, so I kind of want to try and not do this once a month. I really would like to be back in 2 weeks, but no promises made here. It really depends on my time, and right now there is not much of it, and what there is I like to spend on crafting instead of making videos. I know, bad YouTuber. I never had any illusions about doing this for a living, so that's fine. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed seeing Lola try and sit in a tiny, teeny tiny box. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week. I'll try my best to be back tomorrow. Bye.